Tail gunner here, April 12th, 2025. Coming in on a trail known well to those on this channel. We are coming into East Quinault, heading up to Enchanted Valley. The last time I was on this trail was in November when I was sort of stressing out due to certain situations here in the United States. We can now, 5 months later, say that President Trump has delivered on exactly what he promised to do. You are welcome to make the judgment for yourself of whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. We got a permit here for 4 nights, 5 days. It's perfect timing. I've got a project that starts on the 17th, so I've got to be out Wednesday to start that project on Thursday. This trail has been easily accessible for 2 days due to some road issues coming in. So I have no idea what's ahead of me. When I got my permit, it said 10 of 12 available. So I'm assuming that there are 2 groups ahead of me, and the cars in the parking lot confirm that. I don't know whether I'm going to title this video counting blowdowns on the Quinault, because I expect to find lots of them. I could maybe call it snow in Enchanted Valley, because there likely will be still some snow up there. I don't know how much. Also, given that no one's been in here for 6 months that I know of, it could also be labeled the final fate of the Enchanted Valley Chalet. I have no idea what to expect when I get up there. That's actually one of the primary reasons for this trip, is since I've been following the chalet the last couple of years on my channel, is to get up there and see where it stands this spring. I'm actually really busy with work for the next couple of months, so it was sort of now or never to get in. So it's now about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to do just a couple miles up to Far Creek, or a still site just beyond that, and then make my permit for the next night is at Pyrite, so I might stop there. I might push on to the valley, but I'll definitely be in the valley on Monday, and then I've got 2 days coming out, probably staying at O'Neill. That's the plan. Don't expect to see much activity today, other than maybe a few blowdowns. I got a notebook with me. I may be making note of the blowdowns to pass information on to the Park Service. Anyway, so I'm going to shut off the video and start hiking. This one's worthy of a video. Blowdown number 3. Not too bad. People have been stomping through it. You don't get the pack hung up. This is why I'm wearing hiking boots and not trail runners. It's been raining the last couple of days. This doesn't surprise me. You go to that side, but then you got a big step down, or you walk essentially the creek. Blowdown number 4. I am going to stop the camera. We got through there, but trying to hold the GoPro in one hand, 2 trekking poles in the other hand, and just did not seem like a really wise idea for a person of my balance ability. So, but onward. We've gone a couple hundred yards since blowdown number 3, and we now have blowdown number 4. Again, this is clearly a put the camera down and use both trekking poles and into day one of our 5-day adventure. We've rode into Fire Creek. I'm gonna set a big, I camp here a lot. I'm gonna set up where my pack is by a tent and sleeping area over there. It's about 4 miles or so from the trailhead. Well, I had to drive from Seattle, so I didn't start hiking until 3 o'clock. It's about 6 o'clock now. I'm still 9.5 miles from Enchanted Valley. But I might actually have a permit to stay at Pyrites, which is another 5 miles up. So either go all the way to Enchanted Valley tomorrow, or stay at Pyrites. I got an easy 3 hours in on Monday morning, which is what I was planning on doing. Since I'm sleeping over there, and since I'm the only one here, I am going to do all my food prep and eating over on that side. So that is it for Saturday the 12th. When I got permits in here, there were 10 of 12 available permits. So I'm guessing that there's 2 other groups. I met one of them. I don't know where the other group is. I'm assuming they might be up in the valley, but I don't know that for a fact. All right, we're gonna cut this off and have dinner, get the tent set up, and we got about an hour, hour and a half, I think, before sunset. But we will see you tomorrow morning. Day 2, heading up Quinault River, East Fork, toward Enchanted Valley. Because this trail just, oh, here's blowdown number 6. I didn't even know it was here. All right, blowdown number 6. Let me step over this, and I think I can do it without turning the camera off. This trail opened up just a couple days ago due to a temporary bridge that had to be put in. So, and I got a permit the day it opened up. So, this is the first weekend that has been open. There are not many people up here. I'm not sure the park crew has even had a chance to scope it out. I'm taking notes for a detailed trail report. That means I'm coming through this area. I have no idea what to expect. Day is Sunday. I would not be surprised if a trail runner passes me in a few hours and then passes me later this afternoon. Well, is that blowdown 7 or not? It's an easy step over. There's debate about what we count as a blowdown, but it's clearly across the trail requiring an unnatural step. So what constitutes a blowdown? Online trail reports for this trail have significantly different counts. My hiking partner Benning Will and I use a fairly liberal definition of any tree that impedes natural progression down the trail, whether that means a step over, duck under, or a reroute off trail. But is there a minimum diameter? Later you'll notice that number 11 is fairly small but waist high. If it had been on the ground, I probably wouldn't have counted it. Or is there a strike zone between knees and shoulders that it has to fall into? Otherwise, it's considered easily enough passable. Coming in on the first 2-mile section of this trail, which is an old road, there were 3 I did not count, as 2 didn't completely cross the tread, and the 3rd I was able to pass under without ducking. I also haven't been counting branches when there was no tree trunk, even though some required careful stepping around. Share your thoughts in the comment section of what you consider a blowdown, or what you think of when you hear a trail report mention blowdowns. You risk your life and your balance to go across that, or do you accept wet shoes? I don't. Going through the middle of the big rock? Maybe. This is just one of the challenge of hiking in the high spring runoff. I'm gonna put the camera away and figure out what I'm doing here. We have just stepped over Blowdown 11, and we are now at this stream. Are we at Blowdown 10 or 11? I think it's Blowdown. I know it's not 10. It's 11 or 12. I think this is, yeah, this is 12. Blowdown 12 here. That way, around that way, and in water. All right, but I need to put the GoPro away. On our 21 video, this was just a little stream easily bypassed, and this year heavy runoff. This is not gonna. This is gonna be the wet socks, wet shoes and socks. I'm not gonna stay away from the drop off, so I'm gonna head back towards a little bit deeper water. Yeah, I think this is where I said sometimes you have to choose between rock hopping or getting your feet wet. So let's see how this goes. Alright, we're across. My socks are still dry. This is a success. That's not going to happen this year. Alright, I'll put the phone away, or the GoPro away. We not only have a blowdown, we have a creek. Number 15 does not cross the trail. It is laying on the trail. Let me back up here. So the trail's coming down. Looks like it might have gone that way, but so we come down here to the creek. There is no trail, or maybe there is, I can't tell. I can't tell from here whether this thing's on the trail or whether the trail's over there. I don't see where the trail would cross the creek. I think this sucker, I think that is the trail right now. And there's heavy brush this direction. It's not going around that way. There's heavy brush that way. We are going to have fun here. Just a nice stroll here and down a nice trail here in Olympic Park following the Quinault River. Early spring hike. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, wait a minute. All right. We found the magic portal. I'm going to shut the camera off. If anyone finds this camera, the blowdown has continued forcing me further and further away from the trail. Other people have told me there are bears in this vicinity. But we gotta get around the blowdown and get back to the trail. And there's one very large tree with lots of green branches It appears to have hit other trees. I'm not sure what all is involved here, but so we are continuing to try to work our way around it. This is the area just north of Pyrites Creek. Correction, east of Pyrites Creek. I spent the night at Pyrites Creek Camp with another party. I was on the west side of the creek. They were on the east side of the creek. This is now in the morning of day 3, and I am doing my solo time management of stopping early and getting up late. So I left Pyrites Creek around 10 o'clock, should be up in Enchanted Valley about 1 o'clock, and I'll have the rest of the afternoon there in Enchanted Valley. I have encountered a bear in this area before. A bear that was not particularly concerned about a human being in his presence. In fact, he was not anything moving closer to me rather than further away. That was until I cussed him out and told him that I was human and that was close enough. And then we restricted my personal distance at 75 yards. But so far, there are no bears here today. People ahead of me have seen a bear before Pyrites Creek. Actually, the people behind me also saw a bear before Pyrites Creek. I did not see any bears. Area clear of bears for now. I'm just shooting this because I think it's really cool the way you got the multiple waterfalls there. I'm still trying to figure out where the trail goes. I think the trail goes right up the creek. But I like that double waterfall. Looks like I might be right next to them. But I'm going to put the camera away while I transit that area. And I'm counting this as 21. There were 2 others since 20 that were so easy to pass around, I didn't count them. But not overly difficult other than the fact it's on a steep slope. Alright, I'm putting the GoPro away and use both trekking poles getting around down this. The entrance into Enchanted Valley is getting a little narrower and steeper. The Quinault River is coming this way. The first area that you wade through there has been replaced by wading over here. But here is your first look up Enchanted Valley, April 14th, 2025. One person who went beyond the valley said they encountered snow pretty quickly. Quinault River, April 25. Quinault River has now changed. We are, first of all, the orientation. We are upstream of the Enchanted Valley Chalet here in Enchanted Valley Olympic National Park. On the Quinault River. The Quinault River is now swung back to the right bank, and it actually is undercutting trees that had grown in since it took out, that was the old river channel. I'm saying in a new channel, so it's swinging back that direction, but it is cutting back to the middle of the channel instead of running down the right shore. That is the old channel I walked into in my I think 21 video. So that's been, you can see a lot of that has been washed away. There may even be, on high water, flows through the old channel again. But on the other hand, since it's cutting there and sheeting this direction, it will probably continue to cut there, increasing the angle that it comes across the valley. This will then put amateur river hydrologist who doesn't know what he's talking about here, but then put increased pressure on washing out the middle island, middle barrier, and which could direct the main channel over to the left bank near the chalet in another year or so. So that is my uninformed wag. I am obviously wrong. April 25, and no one thought this chalet would still be here. It is obviously here. It is standing against all the elements, all the things thrown against it. I said the threats to it were the Quinault River. There's been no erosion in the last 3 years. Said the other threat was the Park Service wanting to dismantle it. Well, I have no idea what the current plans are given the change in the federal administration, and I'm not going to poke the can of worms and go ask. We still have the threat that we have this limitation that nothing can be done to solidify the riverbank due to the Wild and Scenic River Act. So that Quinault River is changing course. I'll have more of that later in the video or another video, but the erosion immediately around the chalet has not changed. It is another bluebird day here in Enchanted Valley. There's 2 other guys with me. There's another couple that was heading here and I've not seen them. But we're going to shut off this video and get ready. Actually, I'm getting ready to leave the valley here this morning. I have work to be at in 2 days, and they'd probably like me to show up. We have concluded our 5-day trip up Enchanted Valley. Came down from O'Neill last night. Came down from Enchanted Valley the day before. As seen earlier, the erosion around the chalet is unchanged in the last 2 years. But being that we now have a former real estate mongrel in charge of the administration, maybe come up with another plan for it. Future plans for the summer are a little murky. I've got the next 2.5 months pretty intense work schedule, so there'll probably be no trips, big trips then, unless I do a quick weekend. The hiking partner being Willow might be out, and I actually might meet her as she comes out if she does an point A to point B trip and be her shuttle back to point A. If we can make the timing on day of the week work on that. August going to Labor Day, we're hoping to do Quinault again. And again, it's a little dependent on the work schedules. At the moment, all my work projects wrap up in mid-October. I'm obviously looking for more stuff at that point. If there's a break, I'll probably do a big trip sometime in mid to late October. BR, who was on last year's Memorial Day trip, may be on that one, if he's also available. At the moment he is, but that could also change as he looks for other opportunities that time frame. So we have now come to the exit bridge over what I assume is Graves Creek and into the Graves Creek trailhead parking.